Transferral by Kate Blair, Chapter 8. Penthouse flat, Bankside, London, 18 days left. At home, I throw the clothes and shoes straight down the rubbish chute and then fill the bath, pouring in every kind of lotion I have. Lavender, vanilla, orchid, filling the room with perfume. I relax as I sink into it, close my eyes, and soak for a long time. Tig will soon be pulled from that nightmare, soon be brought to a nice home, to warmth, love, plentiful food, and a world free from people begging, stealing, and grabbing at her. I've done good work today. I didn't fail her. Why don't I feel better about this? Perhaps because it's hard not to think about Galen, about his kindness to me, his green eyes. He doesn't belong there either. I try and push the thought of him from my mind. He's older than I am. He doesn't need saving. The bath is getting cold. I should get out soon. I gaze around at my white, clean bathroom, starting to feel like myself again. For a moment, I wonder what it would like to be Tanya, the girl I claimed I was, faced with the barbican, knowing she was nowhere else, knowing she has nowhere else to go. Is that fair? One crime and her landlord throws her out? Thomas Bryce claimed it was unfair that he ended up there. After Dad brought him to justice, said it ruined his life. But he was scum. Blamed all his problems on other people. If Tanya had met Galen, he'd help her. If she were a decent person, she'd sort herself out, get a job, and get back on her feet in no time, and find somewhere else to live. I turn on the hot tap. There's no Galen in my life. No one offers to help me. Everyone assumes I'm doing great. And I am. I remind myself as I lie back in the bath, I'm doing just fine. I smile for my dad when they come home the following lunchtime. He tells me the press have called that the girl from the hospital had been found and taken into care. The papers want a comment from me. Dad's overjoyed by it all. His poll numbers are way up, his lifelong ambition within his grasp, and the girl I was so worried about is safely in a children's home. It's a win all the way around. It really is. He swoops me up and in a bear hug, and I squeeze him back. He wouldn't be nearly as happy if he knew how she was found. Piers approaches later, wincing as he puts his weight on his bad leg. I'm eating delivery pizza in the kitchen. Allison and Dad are going over some notes for his next speech in the sitting room. I've been trying to ignore them, and the voices occasionally raised in laughter across the open plan flat. I don't like the way Dad is smiling at Allison. You should go visit the girl, Piers said. The girl? You mean from the hospital? Piers keeps his voice down. The press are desperate for follow-up on your heroics. It's a great story for us, he says. The visuals are perfect. Cute kid, teen savior. The camera loves you. Apparently, her mom is dead, and social services said she was staying with a dodgy guy. Galen wasn't dodgy. I'm about to defend him when I remember I wasn't meant to be there. But we don't know anything about her, if she's happy about this or not. Piers waves his hand dismissively. Obviously, we checked out the situation before. And someone to do that. We don't want this to blow up in our faces, in front of the cameras. My heart beats faster. Sorry, guys, that's my dog whining in the background. Penny, leave. Away. Away. Sorry about that. Yeah, we don't want that to blow up in our faces in front of the cameras. My heart beats faster. If he does that, he might find out about my visits to the Barbican. Better if I just go, without the press at first, I said quickly. If I check it out before we bring in the media in, we can be sure how she'll react to seeing me. When I get back, I tell him that it won't work, that she doesn't want to be interviewed, and I'll be in the clear. I'd usually send one of my guys, just in case. I'll keep it quiet. And wouldn't that be a better story? That I've been visiting her in secret, not for the publicity, before it's leaked, I mean? Pierce taps a finger on his chin thoughtfully. I'll speak to your father. You have good instincts. I know you said that you won't be the one to change the world, but we'll make a politician out of you yet. Me? Changing the world? I like the idea of that. Pierce continues. I'd like you to speak at a fundraiser we have in a few days' time, with some rallies, if that's okay. And on the main campaign? We'll see how these events go. I grin at Pierce. He can be hard on Dad, but it's only because he wants him to succeed. They're friends from back in law school, although Pierce stuck at it even after Dad left for politics. But after Pierce was attacked, he gave up his practice and joined Dad's staff to advocate for other victims of crimes who were denied justice. And he's loyal to Dad, not the National Law Party. If Dad loses, the party will get rid of him as soon as they can. He's got as much writing on this as we do. Pierce heads into the sitting room, leans down and talks to Dad. I hear the low rumble of the conversation. As I enter, Dad turns away from Pierce and to me. This is what you want? Dad asks. I nod. I'm not sure, Talia. Some of these kids are pretty rough. They're kids, Malcolm, Pierce says. Relax. You have to let me do this. Dad puts his arms around me. You've been through so much, Talia, my little girl. You shouldn't have to deal with any of this. I'm not that little anymore, Dad. I suppose you're not, he sighs. Well, have you still got mace? Yes, Dad. I can't imagine using it on children, but I do have it. Bring that then. Keep your distance from the kids and have Mike drive you and stay close to you. There's no need to worry, Pierce says. After what Talia did for the girl, I guarantee a warm welcome. I press my lips together. I'm not so sure about that. The children's home is in Hackney on Mare Street. We approach it along the street of shuttered businesses. Here we are, Mike says. For a moment, I think he's got the wrong address, as we're outside a shop, complete with a green sign saying, Hackney Convenience. But then I notice a sheet of paper stuck to the window with Hackney Child Services printed on it. I take a deep breath and open the car door, letting the chilly air in. I'll circle around the block, Mike says. Best not to park in this kind of neighborhood, unless you need me to come in. I'll be fine. Thanks. I wrap my coat around me tightly as I cross the pavement. The door is unlocked. I step inside and shut out the wind. But it's just as cold in here. The room is about the size of a tennis court. Gaps show in the floor tiles where the grocery aisles used to be. Children of all ages mill about everywhere. An infant chews on an empty plastic bottle. Teenagers congregate in a corner. And younger children run around, banging into each other, falling and crying. There's a lump in my throat. I didn't think it would be like this. It takes me a while to spot an adult. The nearest one is spooning some kind of mush to a baby in a plastic high chair. I'm about knocked down on the way over to her by a gang of kids who sprinted by. Hello, I say when I reach her. She looks exhausted. She puts the spoon down slowly. I offer my hand. Talia Hale? I know who you are. She wipes her hand on her jeans and shakes mine. Jackie Musgrove. I wouldn't have thought our little facility was on a campaign trail. No, I've come to see someone. Of course. That girl from the hospital, Tegan. I let my gaze wander around the room again. She obviously catches my expression. Not what you were expecting? I shake my head. The space was cheap to lease. We're on a tight budget. Where have all these children come from? Some are orphans. Some have patterns in quarantine who might not have come out alive. Sorry. Some have parents in quarantine who might not come out alive. Some are only in our custody temporarily to stop them from getting their parents' diseases. She gestures to the room. There's not enough of us. There's not enough money. Can you talk to your father about this? Of course. He'll want to help. Will they be adopted? A few will. She points at the infants she's feeding. The youngest ones, mostly. No one wants them once they're over 7. They're, well, difficult to control when they're older. And they're often in trouble with the law by then. No one wants to adopt a child who's under a recall. How old is Tig? Won't say. 9, maybe. Won't talk to us. You might want to ask the boy who's with her. He's the only one she'll talk to. I start at that. Boy? What boy? She gives a tired shrug. Some friend from the Barbican. I scan across the room. Dread creeps through me. My gaze stops on a figure, his back to me. I recognize that confident stance, and he's turning around. I'll come back another time, I say too quickly. I don't want to disturb her when she's got another visitor. Jackie looks as if she's about to speak, but I cut her off. Thank you so much for your time. I'll tell my dad about this. Don't you worry. Then I'm walking away, towards the glass door, avoiding the children as they careen around me, bouncing off each other like croquet balls. I head outside into the wind without turning back. The car isn't there, and I hear the shop door open behind me. You! I recognize Galen's voice and spin around. His green eyes blaze with anger. He shakes his head. Tanya! Talia! You... He jaw. Are you trying to destroy our lives? It's clearly a real question and not a rhetorical one. I wanted to help, but it sounds weak. Well, you've really helped. His words are thick with sarcasm. Taking Tig away from everybody who loves her and dumping her in a place like this? No child should have to grow up in the Barbican, I say, but my voice trembles. And yet hundreds do. You think this is better? He waves a hand at the children's home. She might get adopted here, I say, in spite of what Jackie had told me. Might end up in a good family instead of the one that she was born into. Galen looks as if he's been slapped. And what's wrong with the family she was born into? Her mother's dead, and her father is a dangerous criminal. I pause. The memory of Jackie's face, pleading, coming back to me. I'm sorry. He's in such trouble, though. I really am. Sorry? You hit him with the chair. I thought he was going to hurt Tig. I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't know why I was trying to explain myself to this boy. It's his stare, like he can see right through me. They told me he was a drug dealer and that he's violent. I know I've said the wrong thing as soon as it comes out. Galen's nostrils flare. He pulls himself up to his full height, and for a second, I'm afraid. But he shakes his head. You saw a big black man and made assumptions. But he wasn't a drug dealer. He was a doctor. My brows furrow. What? Well, he was a medical student, but he dropped out because he didn't want just patch up injuries or transfer diseases. He believed in the Hippocratic Oath. He actually treated the sick with aspirin, herbs, any medication he could find or grow. Those were the drugs they are charging him with dealing. My mouth opens and closes. I can't imagine the man I met in quarantine doing any of that. I guess I did cause brain damage. But it wasn't my fault. I thought that he was going to kill Tig. What was I meant to do? How could I have known? Anger swells in me. So he tried to make criminals better? Illegally reduce their sentences? Galen's green eyes glisten. He treated sick people with whose only crime was trying to feed their families, trying to look after them when they were abandoned by society, used as a dumping ground for diseases for the rich. I take a step back. If he was such a great guy, what was he doing waving a cleaver around? You don't understand. I put my hands on my hips. Explain it to me then. He pokes a finger at me. It's none of your business. You think that you're entitled to know all about our lives, but you haven't got a clue what we've been through. I can't believe I tried to help you. I was so stupid. You tried to help me? I'm the one who went up against the armed man. I made Tig famous. Social services will find it easy to get a good home for her. A good family now. Galen snorts. If social services could do that, I'd have taken her myself. Can't you see why I wanted to keep her away from this? He's staring hard at me, as though I'm an alien species he finds repellent. But I don't understand. I'll tell my father about the homes. He'll sort all this out. Make them better. He laughs. Good luck with that. He will. He's a good man. He's a rich man. They don't care what happens to us. Dad's not like that. The sound of a slowing car comes from behind me. The door clicks open, and Mike is at my side, shoulders squared. Do you need help? No, I say, I'm fine. Galen steps away from me towards the children's home. I should go inside. Tig needs me. Dad will make things better. Yeah, right. Galen opens the door and goes inside. I watch him stride through the chaos towards Tig. Ready to go? Mike asks. I nod. Galen doesn't turn around, doesn't look back through the glass. Mike opens the car door for me and I slide into the back seat. There's a hollowness inside me. But I'll speak to Dad. He'll prove Galen wrong. We'll fix this.